I want people to believe in themselves in the same way I believe in myself. Now, how can I go about doing that? There's so many ways. The most obviously the most efficient way is to talk about myself. So what we're going to do, we're going to start off with everybody as one calling me arrogant. It's just easier. Let's get it out of the way. He's arrogant. People that are confident and have self love, they're perceived as arrogant. It's going to be one of the mainstays, really, the thing that I'm going to be accused of an awful lot in my life because, people are going to have that. When they see confidence, self love, it's arrogance. It's like, let's get it out of the way. He's arrogant. Fine. You could ask, am I being patronizing? Yeah, probably. But it gets it out of the way. Let's just get it out. The elephant out of the room, or whatever. So yeah, what I want people to do though, like it's going to be hard for me to do this because I don't do notes. I've got to really try and think off the cusp here, and it's going to be one of the harder ones because I'm going to forget something inevitably. But as I talk about myself, it's like think about yourself because the one thing I always say is when someone has like a kind, caring nature, it's easy to put that off and not think it's like this great gift that you have. It's just it's all a lot of time. Our biggest gifts are the things we just take for granted and we just think it's a given. Everybody has that. Actually, if you just look around, so we're not here to just judge everyone constantly. It's just a reflection. Have a look around. How many people do you know in your life, for instance, that is kind, is endearing, just does it literally does something without expecting anything in return? That's a pure heart. How many people of a pure heart do you think you have in your life? And then go far enough back and think, how many have you ever had? Now you realize how much of a rare gem that is. So let's start there. Um, so yeah, that's what I want people to do. I just want them to look at themselves and to start embracing who you are. Because in all honesty, I don't think well, there are mean, horrible people. Look, I'm a spiritual, so we're going to get that out there to begin with. Because if we don't do that, we're going to get lost. Um, Now, I feel we're all souls having a human experience. Our souls have varying frequencies. So we've had different lifetimes. We have different evolutions. So some of us are higher frequency than others. So some are just low vibrational. So they're going to get caught up in all sorts of misdemeanors and toxic things in life. They're wayward. They need some direction. Others of us are higher frequency, so we've had other responsibilities in previous lives, and we're rapidly ascending, rapidly learning, so we can overcome things far more effortlessly, I guess, even though it's a struggle, and we might even go through harder struggles than the others, but they'll still perceive their struggles as worse. It's not a competition. But anyway, to get that out there, let's just go that far. Um, I'm trying to think where the hell I'm going because it's all over the place at the moment. I just really want to get it across. The fact that there are some horrible people, and like I personally feel, where I just said we're all souls having a human experience, I do believe there are vessels in existence surrounding us who are soulless. Yeah, I think it's just corruption. So effectively, a lot of us are here for a purpose. Others are here just to exist, and it's like literally, it's like robots. You just got to work your way around it. So there's going to be chaos. So sometimes you might think, "Why this ain't fair? This ain't fair." Well, there's a lesson we're going to learn in it. Not everybody's going to learn a lesson because some people are not here for lessons. So it's important to just start to look around things. And so, like one of the things I think is the most important thing is emotional intelligence. So you can have all sorts of intelligence. You can just be like analytical. You can be a very, very intelligent, wise person. You can have street smarts. You can have all sorts of things. But I personally think emotional intelligence is the most important because it stops you getting taken for granted. You can set boundaries. Your sort of self-worth isn't dictated by how other people treat you. You value yourself unconditionally. These things are invaluable. Otherwise, you do lose hope. You do like look at yourself and don't think you're worth it, and all these things. Like these are things I've never had in my life because I've always had that emotional intelligence and I've always had that love of myself, the arrogance, if you like. So someone might say, "Oh, you love yourself." Yeah, I love myself, but maybe not in the way that the accusation is, with the slight, no, I actually have a love of myself. So I have so much respect for myself. I don't let people take advantage of me. So sue me. And everyone should be like that. That's really powerful, I think. So what I was getting at here, like let's for instance, we all have attraction to people. So I have like criteria I look for in someone. I'm not going to sort of list it all now, but you look for things in people, and so it's not like you're sitting there just like a checklist. You're trying to tick it off. You just naturally know, wow, I'm attracted to them. They've got so much going for them that I'm attracted to. You just know. Sometimes it ain't labeled, but you can label it if you start to work through it. So I look at myself, for instance, and I am different to most people, especially most men. Like if you just, you look at them. And again, we're going to go stereotypes because stereotypes exist for a reason. Again, we're not trying to judge; it's just an awareness. Most are obtruse. They try to be domineering. They don't have any accountability. They don't respect anyone. They don't. They don't they just take advantage of people. There's all sorts of things. It's like the typical guy is just very. They're very self-centered, and they don't think outside the box. They're very narrow-minded. So with that in mind, I look at myself and I have an awareness that I'm different to most guys. I'm not saying all guys. I'm saying most guys. Again, we're not doing this just to sort of like go, oh, look, he's great. It's like, look at yourself. I'm trying to raise awareness here. So if I talk about me, people should be able to talk about themselves. No? So I have emotional intelligence. As much as I love myself, I live my life towards sort of a higher purpose, a higher good. Everything goes beyond me. So, although I want to achieve things in life as personal accomplishments, it doesn't come above a sort of a bigger objective. It's leave the world in a better place than when you entered it. That's kind of how I live. And it's like people might think, it's loads of crap. That's just a reflection of how they think. What's the point of living a life that I don't want to go on a whole huge philosophy thing here, but what's the point of going through life living a selfish existence where you contributed nothing, you had a window of time in this world, you just absolutely chaotic, cause conflict, just cause division, you're just crazy for the sake of being crazy, and then you leave this life and think, wow, what a life. It's like, that was a waste, wasn't it not? Well, what is the point? So when someone thinks you're talking crap because you want to do better than that, it's like, how is that crap? Why would I want to do what they do? It doesn't make sense to me. It's all nonsense. It's like, again, that's the emotional intelligence. They lack it. They don't have any grounding in their life. Absolute mental. So that selfishness just surfaced. So when I look at myself, for instance, I have emotional intelligence, but I have a lot of compassion. So what it is, I'm polarizing. And I think personally, to the wrong people, it's abrasive as shit. To people that want to control people, I'm your worst nightmare because I can't be controlled. You couldn't put me in a box. You just can't. So if there was someone that's a bit more boisterous, I guess, or someone that wants to be a dominant partner, for instance, they are not going to get on with me at all because I don't fit in like that. It's not how I operate at all. If someone likes to be on their toes a lot, you never know what someone's going to do, so you're quite unpredictable, then you're gonna find me fascinating, because I can have an intelligent side, I can have a stressed side, so I can be hot-headed at times. I'm far more controlled now than I have been in the past, but I have we all have a temperament. But again, I'm very balanced within that. I'm very compassionate. So, like for instance, I go to the end of the earth for those I love, but I have incredible boundaries, so I'm firm with those who disrespect me. I am ambitious, even though money doesn't mean anything to me. It's not money I chase. It's personal goals. And again, to fulfill like a life purpose, if you like. So I have ambitions. I have intelligence. Could say I'm charming at times. I'm a good communicator. And again, these are all things that the majority of guys, I don't think, have. But they will posture as being superior just through brute strength. And that's just stupid. So it is each to their own. And then I have a spiritual side, which again, to the right people, it means everything. In the same way, when I said about my criterion, I'm not going to sort of pick apart everything. Spirituality is one of them. Spirituality is one of them because I can't be with someone who's not. Because the way it's just the way you perceive life. Again, when you have an understanding of spirituality, you understand that we're here for a purpose. There's a higher will upon all of our lives. And what we do now contributes towards the growth of the planet, pretty much. And it does, because like you can have an impact, and then that can have a knock-on effect. All of a sudden, the world's elevating, and you see so many people they just want to bring everything down, and it's like crazy. So like some people say, oh, they're too wealthy, for instance. It's like that's the wrong mindset. It's like the attitude should be we should all get to live a nice life. So why every time you try to stop someone having a nice life, all you're doing is making the standard low vibrational. You want everybody in poverty then. How does that make sense? How happy are you where you are? You're not happy, right? So why would you want everyone to follow suit with that? Why not raise your level to match the frequency that the others are residing at, and then we can all live a beautiful life. Wouldn't that be better? But again, that's that emotional intelligence, and again, that's that spiritual side of me, understanding that those levels, which instigate incredible conversations. So again, to the right people, you're a breath of fresh air. To the wrong people, brace of shit. And it's like we could all pick apart people, and start looking at their flaws. But again, let's say this is one of the problems I have in life. Is when I see people trying to mirror others. So someone might watch me, and at first they might judge me poorly. Then they hear me speak, and then they hear the things I say, and maybe it makes sense. Then they go, you know what? I want to be like them. It's like you got it wrong. You've got it wrong. You're not listening. I'm talking about me, so you can reflect upon you. You're not supposed. It drives me crazy, man. Because if you look at me, does anyone for the moment think I'm trying to be anything I'm not? Does anyone genuinely think I'm trying to mirror anyone else? Why would I want to be anyone other than me? And that's what I want other people to do. But they've got to be. You've got to increase your frequency, which means you've got to remove societal ingrained beliefs. These are things that you've been conditioned to, even from birth. You might absolutely love your parents, but it doesn't mean they raised you well. You might have childhood friends and you just have such loyalty to them. It doesn't mean they treat you good. It's all these things. You've got to start looking at yourself and start reflecting and thinking all these values you hold, your qualities that have possibly been suppressed. So you're not here to mirror me. You're here to be embody yourself. And I guarantee you, there will be qualities that everybody has, unique to them, that absolutely shine and glow. Because I personally think, and like I said at the beginning, I think there are soulless people. So there are corrupt people that exist. There's nothing you can do with them. But I think there's an awful lot of people that can be saved. And I think it's about not being so self-serving, though. So, don't, because then you're not in competition with anyone. But once you start going down an incredibly arrogant route, where you are genuinely arrogant, you're not really caring about anybody else. And that self-server, keep focusing solely on self to such a high degree, it creates greed. And then you lack empathy. So it becomes a narcissistic trait. And that's where some people it's literally a fine line between the two. And they veer into it. And and then I don't know why they go such dark routes. But I think it's just how people naturally process situations, because you can have someone experience exactly the same trauma or exactly the same circumstance, and they process it and react completely different. That's why you see in families, for instance, there's some children that grow up to be more grounded and stable than others. And it's like it's how you processed everything. And again, if you're going to go spiritual, you could argue that it's to do with the frequency of your soul. One is more susceptible to low vibrational tendencies, and others are high vibrational, so they have more value to their life, and at higher standards. So all these little things. So all you can do is the ones that are a bit wayward, try and teach them to value themselves more. Don't really give in to these temptations, and then you can uplift your life. But that's really what I want to get to people, is just to look at yourself and think about who you are at your core. Because I don't think everyone is genuinely greedy. It's just a corruption. It's a bit like it's completely off topic, but if you just do it this way, think about it. Let's say you get paid. And if you think about it, you pay your bills, and after that, you've got some money spare. Now, if you have no other interaction in the world apart from work and going home, let's not go too far. Let's say you're antisocial. It's the only way we're going to get through this, because it's the only way to make sense of it. It's the only way I'm going to do an analogy. Otherwise, we're going to lose track. Because once I started opening that, I thought, wait a minute, we're going to start going. Once you start having a social life, it's going to go haywire. The analogy isn't going to correlate. So yeah, let's say for instance, let's say you've got £400 spare after your bills every month, and you're doing well for yourself. You've got £400 spare. All your bills, your food, everything's taken care of. You've got no temptations. It's good. Next month, another £400. All of a sudden, it's building and building and building. What you're building towards is your freedom. By having sort of wealth, you allow yourself freedom. Then, don't you? You can have more options in your life, because you can leave what exists, because you have stability behind you, and also you have ability to travel. All these things open up. Now, the real thing is, this is where I'm getting about the greedy thing and the temptations, and the fact that people do things because it seems exciting. It's the same with sort of advertisements. We could comfortably not spend any money. We could comfortably do that if we're not tempted. All of a sudden, we see an advert on the TV, you'll see an advert on the internet, you might talk to someone like at work or wherever you are. They talk about certain things, especially products, it might be travel, all sorts. All of a sudden, now your mind is tempted. Now I want all these different things, but they cost. So now that £400 that you was comfortably saving is just it's just frivolously getting taken away. You do takeaways, they say it costs £15, £20 a night, and you have 4 of them, you're losing like 60 quid a week. You don't realise that 60, 120, but 240, you're about £240 a month down just on food. Unnecessary, because you already had your shopping. You keep adding that up, wonder where your money's going. You've got toxic tendencies, toxic habits like alcohol, cigarettes, vaping, and all that shit, drugs, whatever you got going on. It's like, of course you're poor. You didn't actually need that. Your body just needs hydration, just needs nutrients, you know? So it's like, what does your body actually need rather than what your mind is telling you it needs? I know we're going off track here, completely gone off track, I think, but I'm hoping people get the gist there of what I'm trying to say with it. It's just, your mind is playing tricks on you. It's telling you want that. Look, I fall for it too. I'm not with those sort of toxic tendencies. I've never smoked in my life. I don't drink alcohol unless it's like a function or something. But I don't really go out much anymore. Do things like that. Doesn't mean I wouldn't have a drink in the future, but I don't go mental. Never done drugs. Never vaped because I'm not as stupid. It's just. I think it's an awareness. I think people inherently should have seen that just because vaping was replacing cigarettes, but it was obviously it was if it's replacing it, it's still not going to be any good. Clearly, it's worse. But anyway, I'm not going to go down that path. Again, if you abuse your body, you're abusing your mind, you're abusing your vessel. So it's like the other side of that is if you don't respect yourself, you can't expect others to respect you. Could argue you don't care about people's respect, but most people that say that actually do. I'm sort of like the enigma where I really couldn't give a shit. Hence why if you see my videos, you can see I talk on topics that could cancel the life out of me. It could stop any progress I have, but I don't care, which is why I do the videos. If I cared, I wouldn't do it. So I stand by what I say. I'm not one of these people that pretend something. I literally, if I say something, you can take my word as gospel. I mean it. It's like I'm not someone that says, "Oh yeah," and people go, "Oh yeah, yeah," but deep down, no, not deep down. If I'm telling you this, I mean it. I'm not. There's no like angles to me. I'm as forward and direct as you could possibly get. I say it as it is. Again, I think that's one of my beautiful traits, but it's one of the ones that'll actually grind the shit out of the wrong people because they don't want to hear it. People don't want to hear things sometimes, With me, you can hear it. Can't help that. But again, I think if people just heal themselves and they value sort of just their vessel, their mind, and and their surroundings, so you sort of elevate your life, all of a sudden things are improving, yeah? So then you start reflecting upon yourself. So what I'm saying is you've got to wash away the layers that are not you. It's a bit like, this is the best way. After all that analogy, I've probably got a better way. You see it a lot with the wows and I think, is it the turtles, tortoise? I never know the difference between them two. I know one can swim, one can't. At least I don't know that, I think. Not so wise on some things. But anyway, let's say those two, one off, and I don't know which one, and the wow, right? And then you look at the barnacle. You get that barnacle stuff on them. It's like a like a fungus or something. Do you know what I mean? Where they latch on and they cause them distress, and they can actually make them sink apparently because of the amount of weight they add to them. Actually, mental. Now you cleanse the barnacle off the wow and the tortoise. I don't know which one. Let's just go on with the wow because these other ones could drive me nuts. So anyway, you take it off the wow. Now the wow's healed. It's fresh. It's rejuvenated. It's literally who it is. Before it had this weird alien attachment hindering it. And who knows what sort of psychological damage it's doing because you don't feel yourself. And it's the same with the way people put their beliefs on others. And a lot of people, they're looking for validation. Again, this is that emotional intelligence. Now, I'm not saying people are stupid. It's just that there's levels to intelligence, But like I said, everybody processes things some. You could have been brought up in a bullying, narcissistic, really horrible household. And you can have two people process it different. One could turn to hard drugs. The other one turns to criminal law. They actually become lawyers and stuff. It's like literally some people just get inspired by the chaos to outgrow it and transmute it. Others, it just buries them. I'm not saying it's their fault. It's just the way we process things, But it's like if only they chose a different path, their life would be different. But it's never too late. So it's like remove the layers. If someone didn't love you and appreciate you, it doesn't mean you don't deserve to be loved and appreciated. So again, it all starts with ourselves. So if you can start to love yourself in a way I love me, not in this arrogant side we want to say, but if people still want to go that path, so, yeah, keep it going. But anyway, yeah. Anyway, it's like if you love yourself truly, you wouldn't want to be anyone else. And it's just because someone else didn't see your value doesn't mean you don't hold value. If you look at me, like for instance, I've never been chosen for anything. Never been chosen for anything. But if you look at me, do I look slightly? This is what I want people to get. Like I'm not. I know how it comes across, but I've just never ever in my life sought validation from anyone. I don't care. I don't care if I have to be alone. I've always been comfortable like that. I'm an introvert, extrovert. I'm great around people. I can talk for the. I can talk. I can be the life of the party. I can have so much fun. And then people have a habit of wanting me to keep doing it, and it's like, no, I'm doing my own thing now. I was like, I ain't that. I'm busy, mate. I'm busy. I'm busy with me. What are we talking about? But a lot of the time, I'm never someone's first choice. With it. It's not just relationships. This is even if you go back in childhood. There were times when you just like you're friends with people, but are you anyone's best friend? You know, and there were times obviously I had best friends at different periods, but overall, it was really it's like you never stayed within the groups for long. Now I know more about my journey than ever, but back then it's like hard to process it. You're trying to figure it out. Like why am I never why am I never the favorite? It's really because I don't conform when it comes down to it. I think people naturally, even through childhood, knew that I was never interested in sort of following anyone. So I've never been a follower. At the same time, I've never sought to lead anyone. So I don't care about being the most important person in a group or anything. I've got no interest in any of that shit. You know, I just me. But I definitely have no interest in following people. So I do beat to my own drum, and I guess that grates on people. But as you grow up, you're thinking, what the hell's going on? Like, I'm a good person. Like, I deserve to have people around me. Why am I so lonely? In the end, you get used to the loneliness, and you think, I don't really care anymore. I'm pretty cool. I like my company. And then it's like, you know, family members enjoy your company and things. Of course, they're family, but they do. And I always get, even growing up, I was always told, you know, you're the favourite uncle, favourite whatever brother and all this shit. You know, I've caused the boundaries with all them now because, to be honest, they've never invested and they're quite selfish and things. But it's like, overall, it's not like you've never had love, if you like. But yeah, I was never chosen. And I think growing up, even after that, I'm being very transparent here. Even in relationships, it was like no one ever chose me. And I never understood why. I was never like, it's not like I was trying hard to find anybody or anything, but it was kind of like, why is it like people never choose, like attracted to me, yet I'm attracted to other people? It was almost like that thing where you're attracted to someone, but you're not attracted, they're not attracted to you, but there may be someone that's attracted to you, you're not interested in. It's like this weird situation where it's like nothing ever works. Again, if we're going on a spiritual path, I sort of get it a bit more now. It wasn't my path. It's just life is what it is. But again, if you just look at those things, it could make you feel unworthy. It could make you feel you're not worth it. And I'm going to say something that is arrogant now, because I know people are going to do it. I know people are going to do it. The reality is, and I know it within my heart, I know it in my soul. And in all honesty, it's arrogant, but I think people who have followed my journey, if you can look past the arrogance, I think they would agree. I am rare, and I know I was too good for those environments. People didn't deserve me. And I know that. Doesn't make it easy, because you're thinking, if they didn't deserve me, why not place me somewhere where people do? But I believe that's where I'm heading. But what I'm getting at here is I do an awful lot of self-reflection in my own life. I'm always analysing. I'm always reflecting on things. And that's that's why I say when I witness disrespect in my life, I cut that off quick. I don't give people room to continually take advantage of me. So I want people to do that within their own lives. You know, I know this is all about me and that because it's hard for me to sort of like, without someone next to me telling their story, it's hard for me to process it for them because I've got nothing to work off. If I'm good like that, I can help people. But I think fundamentally, it's like people do need to be open to helping themselves, and you've just got to look at your qualities. Because I think I don't look. People can be so cruel. Like let's say, for instance, I can't be bothered. I was going to pick out someone specific who I can't even bother bringing their name up in conversation because I don't really like them anymore. Um, but I'm not even going to say the name. Let's go away from the name. So they they end up doing harmful things to people. They make lies, at false accusations, try to ruin their life because they're not just spiteful, they're just greedy. It was like a consequence of getting what they can get at any cost. To them, it was worth it. Some people are like that. It doesn't matter what the damage leaves behind. But deep down, like I know, and there's two sides to them. I know there is a side to them that does care. I know there's a side to them that's vulnerable. I know they feel a lot. But they close it off. They harden themselves like a shell. And then they allow the influence of others to validate an experience and sometimes coerce them to behave in a certain way. So in essence, they're weak. Now, don't say that lightly, but they are. They're susceptible to being taken advantage of and also just doing the wrong things, which inevitably is going to make them regret in life. And I've always said that there's going to be regrets in the future from their side, not from me, because I've always done the best I can with the situation. I only deal with the situations in front of me. If you cause chaos in my life, then all I can do is deal with the chaos in my life. And if I'm I'll react in whatever way I want. So I might decide just to walk away. I might decide to try to instigate a conversation, try to sort it out, try to come up with a amicable solution, or I might just fight fire with fire. You don't know what side you're going to get. So that's the thing with people with me, because some people might go, "Oh, he doesn't like confrontation. He doesn't." I actually quite enjoy the challenge. Believe me, I enjoy being challenged. It lights me up. So some people might think, "Oh, he does it." He's like, "No, I enjoy the challenge. It's fun." But sometimes I just think, what's the point? Because the reality is, for the most part, you can't specifically change a narrative. So, like for instance, someone could behave a certain way. You could have an argument with them, think I've won that. Now they know they're a dipshit, but they walk away thinking you're the dipshit still. Because you can't necessarily change the narrative. So in the end, is it worth the hassle? And you go, "Oh, I can't be asked. I don't need to prove anything for starters." So I know this has gone completely wayward, but I'm hoping by reflecting, I hope people are not just listening about me. The whole point of this is to reflect upon selves. So, this is my personality and I'm owning it. I can own the flaws. There's no point just saying you this and that, but you hide the other side. I did it in my other book, for instance. I did it in A Heartbroken Daughter. I'd mentioned various people in my life and dedicated chapters to it. Like, for instance, my ex-partner, even my mum. I said some wonderful things about my mum. And then I said other things about other people. And I realized as I got to that book, I hadn't really pointed out my personality so much. I'd mentioned the things we'd gone through up until that point, never specifically my character. So I did a chapter specific to me. And you got to see within that one chapter my fiery side. I can have more physically stronger people around me. They could have people trying to intimidate me. And I'll still stand there and I'll still be myself. I won't ever be silenced or intimidated in that way. And I lash out just like anybody else would. So it's like, I don't allow myself to be a victim. And again, that got you. That tried to get used against me. Go, "Oh, look, he's this and that. He said it in his book." Well, I'm owning who I am I not? You're not telling me anything new. I've just said it. And again, that was an earlier version of me. I'm far more evolved. That was a younger, more stressed version of self. But we all still have that in us, of course. Again, it's up to us what side we bring out. But again, that's that temperament. That's that emotional control, finding a balance. But what I'm saying amongst all this is I know for the right person, I tick an awful lot of boxes because I'm a rare commodity. I'm not just... you can't just put me in a box. It doesn't work. Like, you might think, "Oh, is this?" Oh, so then you naturally just start thinking the typical person who behaves like this. That's how their personality is. But mine's all over the freaking place. It's like, wait a minute. you like to help people. This is the thing with me. Like, for instance, you could say this: you like to help people and inspire them to heal and grow. Yeah, but you don't like people. No, I don't. They do me head in. Do you see? It's like it's polarizing. It's just complete opposites. I don't want to be around too many people at once. In my daily life, it drives me crazy because most people are not healed anyway, and it's like I like my personal space. But if it's, I like being around people for various moments. It's fine. So yeah, it's just complete opposites. It contradicts all the time my personality. It's quite crazy. Um, It's the same way, like, for instance, you could see me being incredibly goofy and silly. I've got no problem being immature. I've got no problem I could do it in public and I really couldn't care less. Again, that's how much I just don't care about people's opinions of me. So someone seeing that side of me might just think idiot, and they just naturally think you're stupid. But then I start talking, and and it surprises them how well I articulate my strength in communication, and not only that, my level of intelligence. And I have a range of intelligence. It goes all over the place. It's not just emotional intelligence. I'm genuinely intelligent, very analytical. So I see past people's illusions. I can see past an awful lot of things that a lot of people maybe they don't see, and allow myself to be silly and foolish at times too. But again, these are things people should see in themselves. Is because what I see is people try to be so stoic. They try to be so cool. They follow trends. They're terrified to be themselves, because they don't want to be judged. But then you've got to look and think, what's so bad about being judged? Because sometimes you've got to look and think, who is it that's judging you? First of all, what gives them the right to judge you, and what makes them any better? Just because they posture as better doesn't make them a better person. It really is irrelevant. It's like this thing that the crowd, stuff like a bigger crowd, is intimidating. It's like, intimidating to who? Just because people laugh, it shows that when people laugh at you, especially in crowds and groups, it just shows an insecurity in them. Confident people don't need to do that. They're in their own bubble. They're just focused on themselves. When someone is absolutely obsessed with someone else, it shows a lack of confidence in themselves, because they're looking everywhere else but themselves, aren't they? So if you get targeted, it's because they see something in you that threatens their illusion of confidence. So just keep being you rather than being insecure and think, oh crap, what have I done? You haven't done anything. You're you. They wish they had that confidence. So stand in it. Again, our personalities are so diverse. People are going to have so many different things. We're also going to have flaws. So it's like, don't walk around expecting yourself to be perfect. We're not perfect. That's ridiculous. We're always, otherwise, why would we be healing and growing? Why would we even have this experience? It's like, we're here to grow, are we not? To grow means evolution. To evolve means we're going from somewhere to get to aspire for more somewhere else. And of course, the evolution continues. So if we're already refined, there's no evolution. So how can perfection exist truly? Anyway, I think I'm becoming one of these like Dr. Phil things. I go places I don't mean to go. I knew this was going to go all over the place because I knew there was going to be no direction to it. It was going to be really hard, especially getting past the level of arrogance that's going to get shown. Jeez. Yeah, I do know my personality shines through. I have a moody side. I have a funny side. I have an intelligent side. I have a caring and compassionate side. Of course, so many other sides. But often it's a reflection of how I'm treated. So, or what I think of someone, or, of course, what we're going through in life in general. So, for instance, if you just think about like my relationship with my daughter, she might sometimes see the fiery side of me when I'm like if I'm annoyed with something. Like, let's say we're driving and I'm trying to be as calm as I can, and people just persistently stupid. Then maybe I'll react slightly. I don't react as long as I used to. I used to be real hothead in the car. Like, I was really hothead. I've stemmed that a lot, and even she said that. You've calmed down a lot. I was like, yeah, I'm trying. Because again, this is injustice with me. If something bothers me, I'm quite vocal. So I'm trying not to be so vocal, but it's in me to be temperamental like that. And again, I know it doesn't. It affects those around me, so I try not to do that all the time. Again, I work on it. I'm always working on myself. But aside from that, she gets room to breathe. I'm not on her all the time. I like her to have her independence. I want her to be self-reliant. I want her to know she can come to me whenever she wants with anything. She knows she can do that. So that's the relationship we have. we're silly, we're goofy, and that's something she's always saying. She goes, "You're so strange." Like she says it smiling, so she likes it. But I'm also like, "You're strange too, though." Like, do you know what I mean? We're both strange. It's like that's just our personalities. We're weird sometimes. Um, but yeah, I consider it an incredibly beautiful relationship. So like, I never have to shout at her. I've never done that. I've never raised my voice to her. I don't have to. Never had to do that to reprimand her or anything because she was raised the right way from the start. And I want to say on top of that, not necessarily just that, because I think you take too much credit. We can take too much credit. She is incredible. So, although I've done my job as a parent, she's also incredible naturally. So, she is a blessing for sure. And I don't say that lightly. That's her personality. She's just incredible. She's got so much compassion. It's ridiculous. So much humility. It's crazy. I always said that. I try and help people, but she has more natural compassion for people than I do. So she feels things more for people than I do. So like I can hold people accountable and I can be really, really closed off. Like if I set boundaries, I just lose all feeling for them. I don't care. So if someone started like trying to throw a pity party to get me to change my mind, it's not going to change my mind. Because once I lose respect for people, I lose respect for people. But with her, she's more vulnerable to persuasion because she cares about how they feel. But she's a bit more vulnerable in how she feels. So that's something I'm trying to strengthen her with herself. Because the way I see it is people could, with that mindset, people can take advantage of you in the future. And it's really important you don't let people sway you. One of the things I try to ingrain in her is it's really important you pursue your happiness, and your happiness shouldn't suffer at someone else's expectations. So where you worry too much about other people being upset, that doesn't justify your misery. It's not for you to be unhappy while someone's happy. It's not for you to put your life on hold for anybody. That's the one thing I'm working on her with. It's like I need her to do that. Otherwise, she's going to have a hard time in life because she's just too caring. And that's why I think, although I don't, maybe I lack that level of compassion, I also look at how that makes me strong. So like some of the things, like my personality can be abrasive and things, but I look and think I need that because there's sides of me that does want to help people, but there's other sides that are feisty. And I just think that feistiness is my shield. If you didn't have it, you'd be vulnerable throughout your whole life, and I don't have that vulnerability. So actually, I just think it makes me strong. And again, if what I'm doing here is showing people my personality. And if you look at it, it's like, I don't know how I'm coming across. Who knows? But I'm going to go with the assumption I'm not coming across too bad. Perhaps even likable beyond the perceived arrogance. Or perhaps even arrogance. So in that instance, that's someone that doesn't conform to society. That's someone that isn't the same as the crowd. And if you can perhaps look at someone like that and think, that's refreshing, then wouldn't it be good to be yourself too? Wouldn't that be refreshing? And I just think that's what's happened. People have lost their identities. It's originality. I say this a lot. Like if you consider the world, and I often wear a black t-shirt because I just like it. It's basic. I like basic. I'm not really an extravagant person. That's just my personality. But I do respect and appreciate other people do. It gives character to the world, So the way I look at it is if we was all copies of each other like clones, it'd be like Men in Black or something, or just like we'd all just wear black or grey and everybody would be the same. It'll be a black and white movie, life. But life should be vibrant. It should be full of different characters. It should just be everybody just gets to reveal their personality, not be so scared to be themselves, And that's why I like diversity and I like culture. So when I see people like hating on other cultures and they're racist and all these things, it bothers me a lot because I just think you're just not seeing the fact that you're just labeling people all the time. You're stereotyping them forever stereotyping them. I said the lack of integration causes division. When we cause division, it creates hate crimes. And then there's no diversity. So we go away from what we should be having. If people respected each other, values get integrated, And then it's like people can just coexist and you can learn so much from people. Like imagine having this walk of life where you have such it's just so dynamic. So you've got an Indian friend, you've got Asian friends, you've got people from Africa, you've got all these different think like and it's truly like peaceful. Think of the cultural knowledge you would gain from that. Even if you just like even just food, like music, like clothes, so it's like fashion and all sorts. The things you would learn, even history, you would learn so much, and it would be so interesting. But instead, people fight against it, and they just want what's familiar around them all the time, not realizing that's actually boring. That's basic. That's basic. It's like that's not fun. That's not diverse. So yeah, I think different to the most. I think different to the masses. I still get annoyed with certain things, of course. You know, if someone enters the country and they disrespect it in any way, then it is this. You know, you're thinking, well, they're not integrating at all. You know, that is chaos, and I get that. So there are levels, of course, but I do think it stems from a lack of welcoming that people do. There's just a lot of hate in the world, really. Yeah, I think it's a lot of time. I think the hate stems from people's values of themselves. To be honest, I don't think you'd find if you just put it into perspective like this, someone who truly loves themselves, you wouldn't find them truly being hateful, would you? Really, if they genuinely love themselves, not with some sort of like narcissistic tendency, where you know their love is misplaced to the point where they're freaking maniacs. But overall, someone who genuinely invests in themselves, they have love of self, they're confident. You'll just see them elevating their own life and just getting on focused, just getting on with life. They haven't got time to sort of go and try and ruin someone else's life. But you'll find those that live in misery love company. So they do want to ruin someone's life to maintain their status quo. But I think sometimes you've got to look at life and just think, well, what one do you want? Because I think it's far better to be the confident one who does love themselves and does elevate themselves beyond their current surroundings. Because then anything's possible. And maybe you have an influence on others to be themselves. And it's important that we don't try to mirror them as us, because I'm not looking for a clone. And effectively, all you do, it's hard to keep up. You can never beat the way I see it is you can never beat an original. So if anyone I do get signs, to be honest, because of my spiritual side, I get signs that people try copying me. And it's like, I just laugh, in all honesty. I just feel I couldn't care less. Could not care less. Because they wouldn't be able to keep up. If you're going to be artificial, you can't keep up with an original. And that means sometimes you're going to get caught out because you may get challenged. You might copy one thing or this and that. And you might think, oh, I'm going to try and embody that. You get caught out because you have to instinctively know the answers to things, for starters, especially if you're going to start talking on topics. Second of all, you're just going to have to sort of live a life that's really going to feel suffocating because it's not the way you want to live, because you're not even being yourself. So effectively, you might see someone that's potentially successful or someone that could be successful, and you might think, oh, I want that. It's like you're doing it the wrong way, though. You're not being yourself. You've got to learn to invest in yourself, find out the traits that you have, that are qualities, and then think about like things that show it that you're interested in. I think to be anything other than yourself would just be a frustrating existence, and life's too short for that. So the sooner we get to being ourselves, the sooner we can get on with living.